got people tied up in something.
All right, that's the fog.
Oh yeah.
That's the fog. That's why nitro balls can't recover from the shit like nitro balls.
Yeah.
The only thing there is the fog.
That's it. Can't nothing else come back.
Like, fuck, come on,
We've been
man.
trying forever, man.
You know,
They don't know what to do. If I can
they have marine land over there, but it's the fog. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, everything. That's the whole point with studying is investigate everything. You know what I'm saying? All these heads are still heads. Name me a Chinese leader.
This guy gave me my one Asian friend gave me a book on, I can't even remember.
Wow, okay. Name me a Indian. Maybe a Sikh leader. Maybe a Jewish leader. So, that is a leader.
Let's do this.
One.
Islam.
Islam.
Peace all the Moors. Let's start off with a prayer. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace.
Freedom.
And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day.
To
his holy prophet.
Islam. White power.
White power.
You can't get over that one.
That was the black guy's bummy. What do you mean, man? You can't say that. Islam, Moors. We'll start up with our readings to be read every meeting. Oh yeah, and just to put that on, notice that Juali said to be read every meeting, to be proclaimed every meeting. But then you have Moors going around calling meeting service. Should let you know the mentality that they're on. Let you know the level that they're on, that they're acknowledging that they're doing the dogma thing. Because all these are supposed to be meetings. Why is it meetings? Because we have some governmental position to uphold. This is not, church. I mean, this is birthrights and nationality. A warning from the Prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speeches while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the Prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their Prophet, and if they lose confidence in their Prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the Prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Juali. And if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Juali, to be proclaimed in every meeting. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens. They are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the last few years. We're also going to start off with a reading from the Red Book. We read the chapter. Jesus passes the third brotherhood test, faith. Now the other thing too we want to put on the record, this is what they call the Red Book, or the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood, or Silent Brotherhood, Mysteries of the East, or whatever. This is supposed to be a book that is among the adepts of the Moorish Science Temple. This is a book that all the followers are not supposed to have, because you have to graduate, you have to go through the chambers in order to get access to this. Just like Supreme Lessons or whatever, you're just not going to get this anybody. One at a time, bring you up slowly or whatever like that. When, at this time, this is the Aquarian age, and all this stuff not even supposed to be in hiding and stuff like that. Everybody's supposed to have access to everything, right? So you can go to rvbaypublications.com, Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood, if you want to get the book. This is a lot of when we look at Moors in the temple and them, whether they're dealing with the civic side, whether they're dealing with the religious side, when you see that things aren't moving as smooth as it's supposed to move, as them being Moors, it's things like this why there's stoppage, not having all the info, thinking that you got all the info when you don't got it, you know what I mean? And then you're going out there with a big chest or whatever. Yeah, we're Moors, we got this, and you never read the Red Book yet. You don't got nothing. You need to shut the hell up and go do something with yourself, because you're only going to play yourself, right? That's why we're talking about today's class is protection and reward, because a lot of people are coming into this, like we were talking about yesterday, a lot of people are coming into this to get something. They're coming in because there's something to get after they come in. Or like we were saying with the info, people get knowledge so they can get a paper at the end of their studies to say, yeah, I got knowledge now or whatever. When this is supposed to be something perpetual. You know what I mean? Studying ourselves, studying our birthright is supposed to be something that is not stopping. Even if you get a paper at the end of the study, you're not going to end there. You know what I mean? The real, like they say, the saying, I can't remember if it's samurai or somebody, but the real master is always a student. Master got the black belt and then you're done at black belt, and then you're not studying nothing. You just open a school and then you sit on the big fluffy chair. You know what I mean? You get people come up to you who wear bows and all that type of stuff. That's not a master. That guy's more inept than anybody. The real master is the one who doesn't give up on the studying, doesn't stop the studying. It's continual getting information, continual learning. You know what I mean? and realizing the more you know, the less you know. The more you find out, the more there is to find out. All right. So this is Jesus passes the third brotherhood test, faith. The Logos waited 7 days, and then was taken to the hall of fame, a chamber rich in furnishings and lighted up with gold and silver lamps. The colors of its ceiling decorations furnished the walls were blue and gold. Its shelves were filled with books of masterminds. The paintings and the statues were the works of highest art. And Jesus was entranced with all the elegance and these manifests of thought. He read the sacred books and sought the meaning of the symbols and the hieroglyphs. Another point to bring up. The red book is the next level up from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, if this is supposed to be added, then it's supposed to talk from the perspective of Adam. This is how you know Moors messed up stuff. And many Moors need their ass kicked. Many Moors that are still around today need strangleholds and stuff like that for messing up stuff, right? That, you know, changing things that they have no business touching the lesson, right? Of the Moorish Science Temple of America says Jesus for a reason, right? 101 said that Jesus means justice. And then you go to the Quran and then you're reading about Jesus and Jesus this, Jesus that. Okay, so really that's justice, right? Doing all this thing, you know what I mean? It's really ma'at, you know, the scales. It's not really this personage of individual going through, you know what I mean? It's conceptual. It's an abstract, right? When you get to Quran, when you get to the red book's supposed to be saying Yahshua. This is saying Jesus still. Right? There's red books that say Yahshua in, or Yahushua, whichever, you know, whatever way you want to go, right? There's red books that say that. This one says Jesus. Right? Which lets you know that people have been playing with what is yours. Right? This is yours. And not only did they hold it back from you, but they also changed stuff. So just in case it does come out, you're still not getting the fullness of what was given to you by the prophet. Right? That's why we keep saying to people, keep in mind, be very mindful. As soon as a dirty Moor crosses your path and you recognize that they're dirty, in your mind, think about all the other nations of the world and what they do with traders. And then ask yourself, how come these guys are their names in the FBI papers and they're still walking around today? How come these people are, you know what I mean, known FBI informants? Right? You know, like Sharpton's a known FBI informant. And he has TV show and all that stuff still? Right? Right? You know, Fard Muhammad, known FBI informant. Right? All the, you know, Spike Lee did a crap job on the Malcolm X movie because majority of the movie was talking about Malcolm Little or whatever, pimp and perm hair and stuff like that, which, you know, that has nothing to do with Malcolm, right? But he did reveal some stuff in there, you know what I mean? Everybody getting paid off, them trying to coerce El Haj to take the check or whatever like that. Betty trying to coerce him, you know, why we gotta go through this or whatever? Like, why you just like, look at everybody. Why is our condition like this? Look at everybody else who says that they're NOI or whatever. But, you know what I mean? He had too much faith for all that. He knew that he had a purpose.
Well,
and his obligation was to his people.
So like, do we ask the question, if she was asking him to do it, like,
right? Well, I mean, it's the same thing with Pearl Ali.
yeah.
Because, you know, The only way that Kurtman Bey got all the stuff that he got to say he's supreme advisor and stuff like that and whatever, because there's rumors, him and Pearl, after Drew Ali, they're chilling. Footsies or whatever, right? So it's you're gonna get that in infiltrated organizations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like even with Elijah Muhammad and then all the girls, you know what I mean? And then, Al Hajj saying, hey, you guys follow this guy? He has the stuff. He has the harem or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm just saying, people get mad. Are you talking about that, you know what I mean, or whatever, but, not no lie or whatever. You know what I mean? Like everything's there. In the open. Open door.
Yeah.
You doing stuff with the door open, drapes open and stuff like that. Then, hey, if people see, right? But that's not, it's that lets you know about the low vibration of the people who are claiming that they're the supreme, pundit and Grand Poobah sitting on the chair, you know what I mean, with the lion freaking ball thing on it or whatever, and then they could put their hand on it like on the lean back chair, that all these people had ulterior motives, you know what I mean, and it's not, we can't do anything now, but recognize that it's our own. You know what I mean? And what are we going to do different? We're going to continue carrying on madness that those people did. We're going to keep pushing reincarnated prophets and all that when we know that there's only one prophet and that's Noble Drew Ali. And then out of, unity stuff, the reincarnated prophets are, they taught whatever, and then that's supposed to give them a pass. They can't get passes, right? And when he was absorbed in deepest thought, a priest approached and said, "Behold the glory of this place, my brother. You are blessed. Few men of earth so young have reached such heights of fame. Now, if you do not waste your life in search for hidden things that man can never comprehend, you may be founder of a school of thought that will assure you endless fame." Right? So these are even some of the things that leaders in the Moorish movement went through, right? Leaders in, all these schools of thought went through that, are you going to get the big chair, or are you going to humble yourself and say, nah, Noble Drew Ali is who it is, or whatever like that, and let it be what it is, you know what I mean? And majority of people went with the priests. If you don't waste your time, if you don't waste your life in search of hidden things that man can never comprehend, you may be founder of a school of thought, and we'll assure you endless fame. And many people took that position and became famous, became well known, became, pinnacles of, fame and nobility and all that stuff, but not because of their knowledge, because somebody put them there. Which means you don't really have anything if somebody put you in that seat or whatever. If you didn't earn the position, you know what I mean? If you use, enhanced drugs to run 100 meters in 2 seconds, you know what I mean, and get the medal around your neck and all that stuff, and people praising you, you're not really the real deal, right? You're fronting. For your philosophy is deeper far than that of Plato. Your teachings place the common people more than those of Socrates. Why seek for mystic light when in these antique dens? Go forth and walk with men, and they will honor you. And after all these weird initiations may be myths, and your Messiah hopes but illusions of the hour, I would advise you to renounce certain things and choose the course that leads to certain fame. And thus the priests, a demon in disguise, sang siren songs of unbelief. And Jesus meditated long and well on what he said. The conflict was a bitter one, for King Ambition is a sturdy foe to fight. For 40 days the higher wrestled with the lower self, and then the fight was won. Faith was triumphant, unbelief was not. Ambition covered up his face and fled away. And Jesus said, and Jesus said, the wealth and honor and the fame of earth are but the baubles of the hour. When this short span of earthly life has been measured out, man's bursting bubbles will be buried with his bones. Yes, what man does for his selfish self would make no markings on the credit side of life. The good that man for other men shall do becomes a ladder strong, on which the soul may climb to wealth and power and fame of Allah's one kind that cannot pass away. Give me the poverty of men, the consciousness of duty done in love, the approbation of Allah, and I will be content. And he lifted up his eyes to heaven and said, my Father Allah, I thank thee for this hour. I ask not for the glory of myself. I then would be a keeper of the temple gates and serve my brother man. Again was Jesus called to the stand before the Hierophant. Again no word was said, but in his hand the master placed a scroll in which was written faith. And Jesus bowed his head in humble thanks and went his way. Any thoughts on that? Chapter. Jesus passes the third brotherhood test of faith. And that's chapter 16.
They're bringing up how, like, I don't know if you can touch on the part when they were talking about how, like, the priests are in disguise as demons and stuff like that. And, like, we were just talking about, like, 10, 20 minutes ago on how a lot of it doesn't matter what position, it could be imams or sheiks or whatever, they could be in a position of infiltrating their own people instead of leading them to the right information.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, like a couple of days ago or whatever, weeks ago, people are looking for somebody to give them guidance, and they're always trying to look forward to somebody to show them the light. But like you were saying, you're nobody if you're going to have somebody put you on that pedestal, besides you working up towards that certain, unless you're working or taking those courses yourself,
Right.
Working up to those steps.
Faith. So if we, now that was chapter 16, right? So if we go back, and it's kind of, this is how in tune this is, right? So chapter 16, now if we go to chapter 8, right? So chapter 16, verse 12. And thus the priest, a demon in the sky, sang siren songs of unbelief. And Jesus meditated long and well on what he said. In chapter 8, Vidyapati, the Hindu or India sage, in the Council of the Seven of the World said, our priests have all gone mad. They saw a demon in the wild and at him cast their lamps. And they are broken up, and not a gleam of light has any priest for men. The night is dark. The heart of India calls for light. The priesthood cannot be reformed. It is already dead. Its greatest needs are graves and funeral chants. The new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each man a priest, enables him to go alone and lay his offerings on the shrine of Allah. Right?
I remember seeing that on
Yeah. Right? So with the priesthood being dead, or because the priesthood is dead, anybody that comes up and says that they're a priest, right? Or trying to play that they're some type of middleman between the individual or man and the higher force is obviously a demon, right? In disguise. Because in chapter 8, we are taught that the priesthood is dead. And it's being, when we think about the concept of priests, we want to think about not what we've been conditioned to think about priests, but looking at shamans and Vedic masters and Taoists and Buddhism and yoga and tantric sex or whatever like that. Those are the priests, are the real priests, the priests that supersede the priests that we look at out here as the priests, right? So if Vidyapati is talking about the priesthood is dead, and when we look at the schools of thought that have to do with the breathing culture and yoga and things like that, all those things come from the East, right? All those are Hindu, Asian, East Asian metaphysical practices. So if those guys know that the priesthood is dead, and they're talking about their priests who are supposed to be the highest beings on the planet or whatever, could walk on coals barefoot and stuff like that, they could push metal stuff in their face, they could charm snakes or whatever like that, do the thing like this and then they're floating and all that stuff like that. If those guys are dead and they know that their stuff's dead, then nobody else has a chance of even making a claim that they're priest and they're vicar of Christ and all that type of stuff, right? So all that to say, everybody who claims that they're a priest and you're a middleman of whatever something, they're a demon in disguise.
So what about the priest teaching, like how you're saying, the stand teaching and traditions, the way that they teach, besides the priest over here in the Western world, don't they teach kind of like in a way where everything's like metaphysical? Like their literature, the way they talk is totally different besides over here. Like, you know what I'm saying,
Right. But even on that level, right? Our priests have all gone mad. Our priests have all gone mad. So, not some of the priests or whatever. Anybody who claims that they're a priest, they're gone mad. They're cuckoo in brains. Right? So I don't care what they do, what they say, how they teach it, whatever. They're mad people. Ain't no need to listen to them, no need to hear what they're saying, right? Because they saw a demon in the wild. These are the priests, the high metaphysicians or whatever like that. They saw a demon in the wild and at him cast their lamps. So they never, so they're in the wild, which means that the only light they have is what they got, right? They're going to take the light that they have and throw that at the demon, right? These are supposed to be the high metaphysical people or whatever, that they never thought to do some ritual or whatever to deal with the demon. They never thought about maybe throw a crystal at the demon or something like that. They never thought about doing anything metaphysical. The only thing, then this is how mad they are, right? They're so mad that they took the only light that they have in the wilderness and darkness, which is going to help them get wherever they're going. They took that light and cast that at the demon to get rid of the demon, right? Yeah, I'm going to bring that up. And they are all broken up, and not a gleam of light has any priest for men. So they had the light, They gave their way a light. Not even that they gave it to somebody or they threw their light at the demon. Which you know, when you go further on, it tells you that demons are illusion, right? So these crazy people that people are saying are the, you know, all-knowing being, whatever like that, out of their mind, threw a light at a demon. Now they're in darkness too, just like everybody else that they're claiming that they came to whatever save or whatever like that. There's no light left, and then the people who are in darkness are following these people who have no light that they threw at a demon, and want to know how come society's messed up and how come, you know, youths are killing each other and whatever.
Behind each other now. It's like a cycle. It's like domino.
Right, exactly,
And like,
exactly,
Hitting each other down.
exactly.
Like the people who aren't fully getting the metaphor, light is the knowledge.
Light is the knowledge,
The
right?
knowledge. And they
Right.
drew that out.
Right.
So people who might not get the concept, light is illuminating, you know, light.
Knowledge,
It's
whatever.
knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
They just think it's very
Oh, that was it.
It also goes to the word that when we talk about the light, the word Illuminati.
Right.
We threw that out as well.
Put that out
Not
too.
knowing that Illuminati is
Illuminati is just
bringers of the light.
be light bearer.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. The priesthood cannot be reformed. The priesthood cannot be reformed. So that goes back to what we were talking about last week with, you know, the sister trying to convince, you know, dirty Moors, you know, get right or whatever. The priesthood cannot be reformed. Why? Because they saw a demon in the dark or whatever, and they cast their light at a demon in order to get rid of the demon. All right, well, you just played yourself. Right? It is already dead. Its greatest needs are graves and funeral chants. So the only reason that we should have a priest right now is to dig holes and to do funeral service, and that's it. If they're doing anything else, waste of time. You don't need to go there. Right? Anybody else got anything on that? So what we wanted to go to today, Drew Ali told the more study. And when I went downstairs today to go do my laundry, they have this table down there sometimes, and they just have stuff on there. They might have cans of food or whatever. They might have people left their socks or something like that, one sock or whatever like that. Today they had like books piled up like this, right? You know, and it's fresh, you know what I mean? Like going down there early, you know, go get it done early before the rush or whatever. So all the books are still there or whatever. They had some encyclopedias or whatever. And a book that they had down there was Srimad. Hey, just call your name. Look at that. Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam. First Canto, Part 3. And this is one of these Sri Guru whatever guy books. You know, the same free stuff that we're talking about. But there was a chapter in here called Punishment and Reward of Kali. That's where the class title came from today. Because I was beating this up this morning, and I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. You know, we'll put some stuff out there, because, you know, since Drew Ali told the Moors to study, and, you know, Moors have taught people that study means keep your mind, you know, limited to, you know, 4 books only, and that's it. And you don't go nowhere else. You don't study, you know, just like the same thing, you know what I mean? You guys got these books in your school of thought. That's what you study, and you don't go anywhere else. When, you know, when it comes to knowledge, we're supposed to be in everybody's stuff, because everybody has foundational information that goes right back to the Moors. So, for the Hindus, they have the Mauryan dynasty. right? Mauryan dynasty, we already know that that's us. It's called Mauryan dynasty, right? So we're gonna go into this for a bit because they speak about a lot of um, the same metaphysical perspectives that is being dealt with in the Quran, that's being dealt with in the Red Book. And remember that Noble Drew Ali told the Moors even in the intro of the Quran that the Muslims of India, Pakistan, etc. were holding back certain keys. So now that we have the light now, or now that we have the feathers on and we know what's up, now we have the L's and B's, we have to go back now into all those things and extract the teachings that our foremothers and forefathers left for us in those people's stuff, right? Just like, you know, the Masons have our stuff, and we got to go get that. We have, you know, we have people like Brother Abdullah Bey, who's revealing a lot of that information, right? That, you know, the Masons don't even know what they have. They think that they have the light or whatever like that, when you're just keepers, you know, should humble yourself. You know what I mean? Don't think because you got the lodge and you guys got the little car and you could get the street shut down for you to have your Shriners parade and you got Shriners Hospital, think that you got something. You ain't got nothing. Right? Somebody go away, yeah.
Okay, so I was looking at the Clock of Destiny.
Yeah.
We have the overall knowledge, which is like the globe, right? Like the world knowledge, and everyone has bits and pieces of our knowledge, right? So, like, isn't it true that like seeing how we, as a collective body, seeing how that we know who we are, well, you know, I hope we all know, right? But seeing how we know who we are, we're supposed to now go to each of these fraternities or organizations and collect like the pieces together, the puzzles together, right? To get the whole overall body of knowledge. Because like when I was looking at the Clock of Destiny, it was saying that like the Moors, yeah, it's the overall body of information, but we still need to get the other colors from all these other organizations too, right? We need to put them together because that's where we'll come into our real higher self of understanding, right?
Right. And the only issue that we have with that is that those individuals ain't giving up the stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like there is an obligation, kind of, you know what I mean, to get it. But the other thing is that when we get to this level, we have to also recognize that now we have a direct connection to the source now. You know what I mean? Like we have, it's like uh, it's like in it's like in the Matrix when they do the upload. You know, oh, I need to learn about, you know, how to fly that or whatever, right? They can't use that on Nebuchadnezzar. They could only use that in the Matrix, right? But what's the thing that's allowing them to do that? It's that there's a etheric connection. They have a connection. They have a line that's going from them on this level to the Matrix. You know what I mean? We could also look at you know, the Matrix as the spiritual world, right? Excuse me. Right? So when we vibrate on the frequency properly, we would be able to tap in to retrieve certain information, right? That we wouldn't have to go to those people and get them to give it up or whatever like that. They would just recognize that, oh, you guys got it. How did you get it, or where did you get it from, or whatever. Like if we look at like Abdullah, for example, with the stuff that he's doing with Masonic Gate, He never went to no Masons to go get all that stuff that
Yeah,
he got.
but he taps into that
Right.
information.
Yeah, exactly.
By
He taps
himself,
into the
yeah.
info by himself.
Yeah, by
It's not
himself,
like Masons are saying, "Oh yeah, here's the stuff," and
Oh,
then
no,
he's
no,
getting it
no.
and he's saying, "Oh wow, I'm gonna put this up because they don't know what they got." He's tapping into that for just from this only, just from nationality birthrights, and put the energy out, and then stuff will
Drop it. And
come back this way.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Put it out that way, and then stuff's gonna come back this way.
That's why they say to tap into your cellular memory.
Right. Exactly. Right.
And even to add to that, in regards to them not giving it to you, it's more or less like you wearing your fez, and someone sees that. It's like, how did you get that? You know, just by them asking you, how did you get that? They know what's up. You know what I mean? So it's like you know it now. Okay, I'm wearing it. I know why I'm wearing it. Nobody else is wearing it. So I'm just not wearing it for style. I'm wearing it because I know self now. So it's like, how did you get that? And they want to know.
And they really want to know where, like literally
Know.
where, like where did you get a fez? Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen a fez like that or whatever. Yeah, well, I just got it at a store or whatever. What do you mean you got it at a store? Like you got just get a fez. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
It's not, you're not black anymore.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, you might be a little bit more willing to share. Me and
Right.
Dream experienced that when we were working for this old guy. And
Word for it, we're building
but yeah, we were doing it. We were doing the gazebo, and then after that, out of nowhere, he just started bringing like the apron.
He was a Mason. He was a 32nd degree Mason.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, because obviously he loves to, loves to chat. So I guess it sparked him. And before you know, he's bringing out his apron. He's bringing out his Mason books. You know what I mean? You see the man doing a handshake.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was going in like, but he obviously didn't let us take the books, but he was just letting us know. And he's like, you said you got the 32nd, but he didn't go to 33rd because he got too old, and I guess there's a lot of rituals you gotta do. You gotta do a lot of moving around and lifting. Who knows what the hell they're lifting? They're lifting things, and he was breaking it down, and he was just spilling all the time.
He's from the one in Hamilton.
The one,
From all the way over here.
Of course, he's just Hamilton. Hamilton has a big Scottish right.
Oh, yeah.
Massive flipping castle.
So you think
That's the
castle,
castle.
literally.
you think that they'll have
That's
history
the head.
on that
Yeah.
hill?
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Omar went in there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the one when Omar went when he worked. Yeah, when he was working out there. Yeah. They were
They do a
shooting
lot
out
of
there.
movies there, man.
Yeah.
There's a movie filming right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do a lot of movies in that
Yeah.
damn building, man.
For real.
Yeah.
But do you think that they have like library books, like library books in there of Hamilton's history, like or archaeology?
They might, but even the city might have that. The Hamilton Library or whatever.
Like,
They're taking it on now.
You know.
Yeah, they're going to the land registries and everywhere and taking up books and keeping them for themselves.
Yeah, because like Dream was telling me about the pyramid.
If it's a mount,
Yeah.
100% for sure. Like,
Definitely a mount.
It has to be.
Yeah, but you know what they did? The Hamilton Utility Company like built into it, and I'm like, so they're trying to make it seem like it's something to do with
the Hamilton.
But I'm like, if we understand anything about mounds and how different mounds and pyramids is used for energy, what they did is just built into it because the whole outside is still a mound. And I'm like, yo, if the European built it, it would be concrete.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? There wouldn't be grass.
For real.
And it wouldn't still be in the shape of a mound.
And
They blocked it off, and they won't let people toboggan on it because a lot of people like to toboggan down it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are they blocking it off?
Right.
They don't want the public to get too close. It's a mound. Like the next time you guys come to Hamilton House,
So why are the natives fighting for that
and
mound?
it's like a dual level pyramid. So all the angles are right, and then it has another angle on top of it. Well, you can see like where they were tampering with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because like half the mound over there, it didn't get. You know what? I don't know. When you see that it was tampering with it, but it's a mound. 100%.
Caledonia's like 20 minutes down or whatever where the reserve is.
Yeah.
So why the natives on that now? You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that
they
makes
put
sense.
them to the
That's
flat
like
line.
It was probably them that sold them out to the.
Because it says.
You know what
But
I
it
mean?
wasn't dumb though. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, they probably have no history for
They had no
that.
connection to
Yeah,
it.
no connection
They
to
didn't build
that.
it.
So that's proof that that's not them.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't build it, so they sold it. Like,
Yeah, they're just like,
you
I don't know what that
You
is.
don't know what that is? Yeah. Just a hill.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It makes so much sense.
And then it's crazy too what you're talking about too with because we know that the pyramids, like it said, even that pyramids are used for the same energy, right? You know what I mean? So for them to have the Hamilton energy, whatever,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I told
It
makes
them.
so much sense.
like you
I
wonder
said that.
where they're getting, like okay, so do they are they really using the energy grid whatever stuff that they got, or are they really using this mound that is probably some, you know what I mean? Some it's probably on some meridian line or something like that, and
That's what I'm telling you.
tapped into
Look
something.
how slick they are. It's a
Yeah.
utility company that basically you're making it seem owns it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like the Hamilton Heritage System.
Yeah. Hamilton Library or nothing like that. Yeah.
So that's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably why, like in Hamilton, like it's, I would say it's run down, but they're trying to get a lot of people out of there.
Yeah.
To make it look, oh, this place is no good to come to, don't
Sure.
come here, you know.
Faking properties out in
Yeah.
the woodwork.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is chapter 17, Punishment and Reward of Kali, text 1. After reaching that place, Maharaja Pariksit observed that the lower caste Sudra, dressed like a king, was beating a cow and a bull with a club as if they had no owner. The principal sign of the age of Kali is the lower caste Sudras, i.e., men without Brahmanical culture and spiritual initiation, will be dressed like administrators or kings, and the principal business of such non-Satirya rulers will be to kill the innocent animals, especially the cows and the bulls, who shall be unprotected by their masters, the bona fide Visayas, the mercantile community. In the Bhagavad Gita, 1844, it is said that the Vaisyas, Vaisyas, are meant to deal in agriculture, cow protection, and trade. In the age of Kali, the degraded Vaisyas, the mercantile men, are engaged in supplying cows to slaughterhouses. The Satriyas are meant to protect the citizens of the state, whereas the Vaisyas are meant to protect the cows and bulls and utilize them to produce grains and milk. The cow is meant to deliver milk, and the bull is meant to produce grains. But in the age of Kali, the Sudra class of men are in the posts of administrators, and the cows and bulls, or the mothers and fathers, unprotected by the Vaisyas, are subjected to the slaughterhouses organized by the Sudra administrators. Right? So this is their little holy book or whatever. On Sudra. Udra. Right? So coming back to the same thing about what we were talking about earlier with the priests being void, right? And men without Brahminical culture and spiritual initiation will be dressed like administrators or kings, right? Which is what we're dealing with right now with the whole courts or whatever like that. These people who we know are Masons in secret, which means that they have some type of initiation, whatever, but they're not putting that out as who they are. They're leading people to slaughter, which is these prison houses, right? And you know, the cows, which is the shadow property people, right? They're getting led into the slaughterhouse, which is, you know, prison, jail, graveyard, or whatever, right? They're you know, playing the role of administrator, right? Lawyer. Okay. You know, they're really meant to protect the citizens of the state, but they're not doing that, right? They're really supposed to be using the law. If we look at there should not be any prosecutors or defense attorneys. There should only be people who's protecting against, you know, the evil. Because the people who are doing the evil, you know, they're supposed to be, you know, that's, you know, capital punishment or whatever. They're not supposed to be around getting no jail time, get a lawyer and stuff like that when you kill somebody, rape somebody. You're immediately you're you know, wall treatment, right? So it's interesting the relations, right? And remember, this is copyright 72, second version 76, third version 78, and it was copyrighted by the Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust. The Book Trust, right? International Society of Krishna Consciousness. The bull was white as a white lotus flower. He was terrified of the Sudra who was beating him, and he was so afraid that he was standing on one leg, trembling and urinating. Goes back again to, you know, go on YouTube and watch the you know, the slaughterhouse videos, and then those might deter you from you know what I mean, eating the cow and stuff like that. That'll get you vegan ASAP. You watch some of those, you know, not the first ones, you know. You have to go deep into the ones where, you know, they have the thing that they just have the cow, you know, they bring the cow into this thing or whatever, right? And then the thing just slaps the cow's head or whatever, and that's it, cow's done. And then the next cow coming up has the eyes like this because he just saw what went down or whatever. Right?
I thought that Muslims give them a peaceful death, like they just, like, you know, like close their, put the ears down like that.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you know, everybody, yeah, you know, right? They can play that game if they want to. Halal and all that stuff, but that's still, yeah, you know, yeah, you know, there's no.
They're trying to do something. I have a video because I just went back home to bury my grandfather, and they were having the big feast, and I mean, with the country, so they called in the butcher, you know what I mean? So they're gonna kill a goat, kill a cow, and you got the whole community to feed, right? So we have a lot of farmland. So everybody's thinking like, yo, these butchers, these guys are aces, you know what I mean? They're gonna go in there, that means hit the cow, go in the right spot, the cow's gonna die without even knowing, right? So I'm there videotaping. I'm like, yo, let's see what really goes down here, man. So, yo, first and foremost, they strap the damn, where they're butchering the cow is like 3 miles down in our land, right? Yeah. From where they're taking it from the cow pen. So he knows it's about to go down. I'm telling you, the cow knows.
Like, cow knows what's up.
The cow's fighting. He doesn't want to come. So they tie a rope around his neck, and they hook him onto my uncle's Toyota, and they drag this cow,
kicking and screaming,
laying down the whole 9 yards to the butcher spot. Yeah. And like, your cow's exhausted now. He's just like, okay, whatever, like, do what you
it's going down, like, who cares?
Yeah. So you know what I mean. The butcher sharpens up his knife. And what they do is they stab them in the back of the head to disconnect the brain from the nervous system. Right? Tell me how this butcher missed like 4 times. So yo, he's there like stabbing this cow. Cow's screaming. You know, he's not dead. They're like, yo, you missed. Okay, all right. You know what I mean? And then you get one guy that's telling him, no, you hit the wrong spot. This is where you gotta go. You gotta go between this vertebrae and that vertebrae. Bam! Stab the cow again. Cow doesn't die. I'm like, yo, y'all gonna eat that? Yo, the cow's falling. He's screaming. he's bucking down, and after like that fifth or sixth stab, the cow's like, okay, I'm done. Same thing happened with the goat, same thing happened with the damn pig.
Yeah, I don't like to think about that.
And it's like, people don't understand what they're eating, man. Because, that cow will eat every dopamine and adrenaline that he had in his body is now in the meat.
In the meat, yep. In the meat.
To hear that they cry too, man, it's just like,
yeah.
But like, I wasn't, like, growing up in high school and stuff like that, we weren't taught to think like that, you know, like,
meat.
Exactly.
Don't realize it was acid something.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, it's like,
and I mean, and that's the good version. Because, that's going from the butcher to the chef, and these are,
they cook them
right there. You know what I mean? But you talk about whatever meat they got out here, whatever. You got the butcher, and then goes to the whatever, and then the packing guy, and then from the packing guy to go on the truck, and then the truck 5 hours or whatever like that. You know, and then get to the whatever, and then by the time then it's sitting in the store, and then they got the ones where they're showing people that secret camera or whatever, and then they're taking off the old date, you know what I mean? Put the new date on the same packages and all that stuff, right? And people are just like, yes, you know what I mean? I got the good steak or whatever.
When they say that they gotta, like, be careful because some what do you call it? Grocery stores got the bag batch.
Yeah.
Of the meat and stuff like that. And it's like, tell us now.
Yeah. After you had 5 steaks.
Even that's a fraud because when I lived downtown Toronto, I live at a condo downtown Toronto, and it was right beside the food terminal.
Yeah.
Where all the food comes in. Listen, all the food is coming off the same truck, and then you have like Fortinos. Like the little section, you have no frills, you have Sobeys, and all the food is coming off the same truck. So you're going to Sobeys or Fortinos thinking you're getting better food, and I'm telling you with my own eyes, it came off the same truck. You know what I mean? That's
name markup.
Just a name, name markup, not product. Just a name markup. Straight. The next symptom of the age of Kali is that principles of religion, which are spotlessly white, like the lotus flower, will be attacked by the uncultured Sudra population of the age. They may be descendants of Brahmana or Satriya forefathers, but in the age of Kali, for want of sufficient education and culture of Vedic wisdom, such a Sudra-like population will defy the principles of religion, and persons who are religiously endowed will be terrified by such men. They will declare themselves as adherents of no religious principles, and many isms and cults will spring up in Kali Yuga only to kill the spotless bull of religion. The state will be declared to be secular, or without any particular principle of religion, and as a result, there will be total indifference to the principles of religion. The citizens will be free to act as they like, without respect for sadhu, sastra, and guru. The bull standing on one leg indicates that the principles of religion are gradually diminishing. Even the fragmental existence of religious principles will be embarrassed by so many obstacles as if in the trembling condition of falling down at any time. So that's in contrast with the people. Like if we look at Divine Warning and Drew Ali talking about, the people are doing so many things that are unconstitutional, right? The people are doing, they're free to act however they want. You want to be black? Hey, go right ahead. You want to be Negro, colored, African, whatever? Hey, go right ahead. You're not even worried about it. And then, those are the things that show the actions of the people lets you know where they are with regard to their spiritual capacity or incapacity, right? So when we say that we're Moors and we're Moorish American and we're Aboriginal and Indigenous, we're actually resurrecting or reinvigorating those ancient principles, because just like the priesthood, religion's dead. So we have to eliminate that and go back to the divine principles. Govern ourselves by divine law. Govern ourselves by, law of opposites and, law of gender. You know what I mean? They're gonna have their little, transvestite and stuff like that, change their sex and all that stuff. But then, if you look at universal principle, that's against those stuff. And that has nothing to do with any individual or any God or whatever saying that. That's just a universal concept that's unchangeable. Right? Right? Impregnable. Right? They will declare themselves as adherents of no religious principles. Right? So when we say, we're Moors, and I don't have nothing to do with that because I'm not Islamic and I'm not whatever, right? Making it seem like this is the thing that they're trying to escape from, like this is the isms and the clubs and whatever. When that's not what this is. This is nationality and birthright. This has nothing to do with any type of religious whatever. Because when we check the history, we already know that Moors weren't only Muslim. Right? We know that Moors weren't only Muslims. So for people to take the approach of they don't want to be down with this because we say Allah, or they hear us say Muslim, or they seen a video with somebody in Fez doing some stuff and now we got them on, so now we're down with what they saw in the video or whatever, shows the vibration of these people are down here. Which is why we were saying yesterday with, you could tell whoever to come to get this info, but only those who were down with Drew Ali anciently are going to be down with him today. There's not going to be, it's not, like we use the term new Moors or whatever for whatever, but really, new Moors are really old Moors. New Moors are really Moors that's been down with the Prophet before the Prophet was even on the scene. You know what I mean? And they're coming back again to make sure that stuff gets right this time. You know what I mean? Right? Although the cow is beneficial because one can draw religious principles from her, she was now rendered poor and calfless. Her legs were being beaten by a Sudra. There were tears in her eyes, and she was distressed and weak. She was hankered after some grass in the field. The next symptom of the age of Kali is the distressed condition of the cow. Milking the cow means drawing the principles of religion in a liquid form. The great Sis, R-S-I-S, and Munis, M-U-N-I-S, would live only on milk. Srila Sukadeva Goswami would go to a householder while he was milking a cow, and he would simply take a little quantity of it for sustenance. Even 50 years ago, not one would deprive a sadhu of a quart or two of milk, and every householder would give milk like water. For a Sanatanist, a follower of Vedic principles, Sanatanist, it is the duty of every householder to have cows and bulls as household paraphernalia, not only for drinking milk, but also for deriving religious principles. The Sanatanist worships cows on religious principles and respects Brahmanas. The cow's milk is required for the sacrificial fire, and by performing sacrifices, the householder can be happy. The cow's calf not only is beautiful to look at, but also gives satisfaction to the cow, and so she delivers as much milk as possible. But in the Kali Yuga, the calves are separated from the cows as early as possible for purposes which may not be mentioned in these pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. The cow stands with tears in her eyes, and Sudra milkman draws milk from the cows artificially, and when there is no milk, the cow is sent to be slaughtered. These greatly sinful acts are responsible for all the troubles in present society. People do not know what they are doing in the name of economic development. The influence of Kali will keep them in darkness of ignorance. Despite all endeavors for peace and prosperity, they must try to see the cows and bulls happy in all respects. Foolish people do not know how one earns happiness by making the cows and bulls happy. But it is a fact by the law of nature. But it is a fact by the law of nature. Let us take it from the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam and adopt the principles of the total happiness of humanity. And then we liken this to right now with the sisters, right? And her being secluded, right? Getting the young men and the men away from them so that they have no protection. And then once they have no protection, now you have the Romans coming and pouncing on them for, come work for us, or, keep popping out children, we'll keep giving you checks. Whatever it is that they got to do to keep this imbalance going on, while at the same time not putting out that the real power is the feminine principle. That's why when you look at in a lot of cultures, when you look at even in ancient Kemetic culture, the cow represented by Hathor, who's a high matriarch, right? Like we were talking about the Hindus worshiping the cows and stuff like that, right? Because it's the feminine principle. You know what I mean? It's not animal worship. How people are going to push it, guys work there, they're against God and they worship all these different animals or whatever. No, it's the principles. So once we stick to recognizing that, everything that we thought is a reality is dead. And we have to go back to the ancient ties of all these things. We can't use the mundane things that we thought are, tangible, right? All the tangible things are becoming dust right now. And the only thing that we have left is going back to the universal principles, natural principles that set up all these things that we were looking at as the tangible things. So even on the level of when we look at food, it's not necessarily organic that's going to save you. You know what I mean? It's really breathing. It's really, energy is really the food. Raising your chi is really going to fill you up better than you eating, organic apples or whatever, right? The self-healing, the pranic energy and stuff like that is really the medicine. The medicine's not, the outside thing that, I got the medicine, drink this, you got the medicine. The real medicine is, using the energies. You know what I mean? Taking like energy from the sun or whatever like that, and then, putting it on your knee, putting it on your headache or whatever. You know what I mean? Tapping into the water or whatever, sleeping with a bowl of water under your bed so you can have lucid dreams, opposed to, ingesting something to manifest these things, because everything is going back to, like what Drew Ali said, we're going back to the horse and buggy days. And going back to horse and buggy isn't, we're going to see horses with buggies attached to them going up and down the street or whatever. It's going back to the ancient principles, going back to the state of mind of the foremothers and forefathers. That's really going to turn this thing around, right? So a couple more good ones in here. What are we at? 213. Whoever causes offenseless living things to suffer must fear me anywhere and everywhere in the world. By curbing dishonest miscreants, one automatically benefits the offenseless. Dishonest miscreants flourish because of cowardly and impotent executive heads of state. Right? Dishonest miscreants flourish because of cowardly and impotent executives of state. But when the executive heads are strong enough to curb all sorts of dishonest miscreants in any part of the state, certainly they cannot flourish. When the miscreants are punished in an exemplary manner, automatically all good fortune follows. As said before, it is the prime duty of the king or the executive head to give protection in all respects to the peaceful, offenseless citizens of the state. The devotees of the Lord are by nature peaceful and offenseless, and therefore it is the prime duty of the state to arrange to convert everyone to become a devotee of the Lord. Thus, automatically, there will be peaceful, offenseless citizens. Then the only duty of the king will be to curb the dishonest miscreants. That will bring about peace and harmony all over human society. Right? So it's relative to Juali saying that if we have this information, if we have this knowledge of self, we have to take our place amongst the affairs of men. And when we recognize and see that there's evil, that people are doing offenseful things, that we have a right to call them out on what it is that they're doing. We have a right to call out unconstitutional activity, because the only way that, you know, like when it talks about the kings and the lords and the executive heads of state, that's us. That's not some people that we're looking to get some acknowledgement, recognition, or from. That's really us taking on that role as being, you know, why do they say you know, noble Juali? Because the Lord nobles were us. Right? We're the real lords. The lords aren't Paul McCartney and freaking whoever else that they're saying is lord of something, and Queen put the sword on him or whatever, so now he's a lord. You know what I mean? Right? Those are the pseudo lords. Right? The devotees of the Lord are by nature peaceful and offenseless, and therefore it is the prime duty of the state to arrange to convert anyone becoming a devotee of the Lord. Right? So as soon as we recognize that there's people who are, you know, innocent people getting whatever treatment that they're getting, as soon as we're seeing people who are of humble, kind characters, but we realize that, you know, the reason why you got issues or whatever is because you're siding with the democracy. We have a duty to go get them and convert them, for lack of a better term, but just to, right, convert them out of Negro, black, colored, or whatever into where they're supposed to be. Right? So that, and again, you know, let the dead bury the dead. Like, we are only catering to those who are down with this. We don't have to, you know, go get people who are down with this, just like sister that called today. No, just calling because going through a situation or whatever like that. I've been studying all this other stuff. I went into court. I told the judge that I'm a natural person, and they laughed at me and kicked me out the court or whatever. Right? Because she thought, you know, certain individuals that talk a certain way, you know, they got what it is. They, you know, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. You know what I mean? There's two types of persons at law: corporate person, natural person. Okay, well, if I say I'm the natural person, then I should be good. But, you know, the people who's teaching that, their status is civil liter mortuus. You know what I mean? So we're doing civil little mortus twice when we say that we're going with what some European foreigner says, you know, how we're supposed to deal with these individuals out here, right? And she made the call and realized, you know, something was up because the like we're saying, the sister's name is Morella, right? So, you know, okay, her name's Morella or whatever. But then, you know, the spelling of it is Murell. Right? So she's Murell going to a magistrate talking about she's a natural person. And then he already has, you know what I mean, he has it up, he knows what's up already, you know what I mean? He knows she doesn't know what's up. Right? And railroad her. You're like, oh, you really don't know what's up? You're not saying that you're a boy, you're saying you're a natural person instead of, oh, you got her. Take all her stuff because she doesn't know what's going on or whatever. Right? You know? But again, when you know, we recognize, you know, there's people that come into this that we're going to recognize that they're supposed to be on this side. You know what I mean? Like they're supposed to be here. They might not be because of whatever's going on out there. You know what I mean? Whatever they're dealing with. But us as the Lord nobles, you know what I mean? Us as the ones that know priesthood is dead. And we know that there's no middleman and all that stuff. And we have direct connection to Allah because, you know, Allah's in man. Then we pull them people. You know what I mean? And we give them 500 more hours of our time just to make sure that that one comes out of what they're in. You know what I mean? And if anybody has any add-ons, you know, feel free to just an upstart living being who commits offenses by torturing those who are offenseless shall be directly uprooted by me, even though he be a denizen of heaven with armor and decorations. The denizens of the heavenly kingdom are called Amara, or deathless, due to their possessing a long lifespan far greater than that of the human beings. For a human being who only has a maximum 100-year duration of life, a span of life spreading over millions of years is certainly considered to be deathless. For example, from the Bhagavad Gita, we learn that the Brahmaloka planet, the duration of one day is calculated to be 4,300,000 times 1,000 solar years. Similarly, in one heavenly planet, one day is calculated to be 6 months of this planet, and the inhabitants get a life of 10 million of their years. Therefore, all higher planets, since the span of life is far greater than that of the human being, the denizens are called deathless by imagination, although actually no one within the material universe is deathless. Maharaja Pariksit challenges even such denizens of heaven if they torture the offenseless. This means that the state executive head must be as strong as Maharaja Pariksit, so that he may be determined to punish the strongest offenders. It should be the principle of the state executive head that the offender of the code of gods is always punished. Right? It should be the principle of the state executive head that the offender of the code of God is always punished. So if there's a code of God and there's people that claim to have judicial authority and whatever else, but they're violating or they're offending the codes of God, obviously they're not the judicial authority, right? Because their actions of being an offender to the codes or the universal laws has to be punishable by somebody. And again, it comes back to who are the individuals. You know what I mean? The individuals are the Lord Nobles, right? We're the ones. And the best way that we can the best way that we can punish the wrongdoers is to expose their wrongdoings, not necessarily take them to some tribunal or court or whatever like that, you know, and sue them or whatever, right? You know, this is why when you look at like you look at the Moors that had the slander campaign against Canaanland, right? And they thought that they were, you know, some authority or whatever, and they're gonna make it look like, you know, we're stealing money and we're doing all this stuff or whatever like that. People outside of here were the ones that were putting them on blast. You know what I mean? It wasn't people here, you know, even though people here were doing it too, but it was people outside of here that took the position of recognizing that they have some judicial authority and they have to talk up for the people who are offenseful or against the people who are offenseful. Because when you see individuals that are doing right or doing good or whatever, you have an obligation to get down with them to do more good if they're doing good. You don't not do anything or, you know, I can't believe they're, you know, whatever like that and go at them. No different than there's this elder Rasadi El, right? And you know, his position is, you know, we're violators because, you know, we used to say when we first came into the movement, we were quote unquote renegade with what we got, right? Because we realized that, you know, people are confused with what the Moorish movement is because people like Sadiel and those people didn't tell people what's up. So one of their issues that they had with us was we used to do the prayer saying, Allah, Mother and Father of the universe, Mother and Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, Mother and Father, right? So, you know, these individuals who were, you know, heads of the Moorish movement, you know, they used to use that as, oh, see, they changed their prayer and all that stuff, and you let them change your prayer and you're going to follow them and whatever like that. They're violating as well. Who changes the prayer? The prophet made the prayer perfect and now they're changing the prayer or whatever like that, right? To qualify, right, that was done because everybody who came in the doors, their first thing was, well, if Moors are matriarchal, why you guys say Father? Father Allah and Father. So we're like, okay, cool. You guys want? How about we say Mother and Father? Since you guys too stupid to go study and research, do your etymology on Father and see that it goes right back to Mother. But since you don't want to do that, we'll make it easier for you and we'll just say Mother and Father out of convenience, so that people could get the message as to what the Moorish prayer is really about, right? And that wasn't something that we would do forever. That was something that we would do to get people, bring them, you know, quick lift, you know what I mean, up to where we're at, and then get rid of it. You know, still today, 2015, we haven't done that in like 5 years or whatever. We haven't done that. They're still bringing that up today as, you know, oh yeah, those are the guys who changed their prayer. But we're saying the same prayer that they say now, right? You know. So these individuals, there's going to be a lot of tests and challenges when you're using your 5 senses with this information. Right? You know, right? As soon as you start using your 5 senses, as soon as you start activating this based on Drew Ali said, be yourself. So if yourself is, you know, sneakers and jeans, expecting you to wear no suit and tie or whatever, come to the temple, if that's not yourself, You know what I mean? If Fez isn't what you do and you are Kufi or whatever like that, then, you know, that's yourself. Like, you know, I can't tell you to not be yourself. Especially if Juali said be yourself. And then people are going to try to give you orders and tell you what to do, what not to do, or whatever like that. Once it's in line with what Juali brought, then there should be no issue. Right?
But I think, to add to that, I guess that's why some Moors feel it that we're not following what other groups are following.
Right.
Because we're not following what one particular individual is following. With that's what you said, with what Nubu Drive said, be yourself, we're just basically following who we are. By studying ourselves, studying who we are, and moving forward, as opposed to just studying who somebody else is and then follow them. You know? But I guess that's the hardest part, is that we're looking for someone to follow.
Right.
You shouldn't be following anybody. Just follow yourself. It's like when you study by yourself. If you want to study with the group, study with the group. But if you like to study by yourself, study by yourself. We're not going to mandate, go study with 5 other people, whatever. No. Study yourself and study with yourself.
When you two, whenever you're going to the meeting of the organization, it's like a lot of questions like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? But now you guys just breaking that down. It's like now I understand that you guys are still studying yourself and you're studying it by how you do it. You know what I mean? So it's like you guys are doing the foundation first and then slowly working yourself up besides just, oh, they are doing it that way, so we got to do it that way automatically. But from the scriptures and the literature, we just, you guys are reiterating, you guys are saying that you got to start from self first and then add yourself up.
Exactly.
First.
I can't tell you what to study.
Yeah.
Can't.
Yeah.
What you want to study. You want to study health, that's part of your information. You want to study religion, that's part of your information. You want to go study nature, part of your information, it's part of you, everything, across the board. Okay? Yes.
The new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each man a priest. The new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each man a priest and enables him to go alone and lay his offerings on the shrine of Allah. Why? Because the priesthood's dead. And anybody claiming that they're some supreme of something, right? And they're grand whatever, like, that's a fiction. Because everybody who says that they're Moorish American is supposed to be adept right now. They're supposed to be grand sheik, grand governor, or whatever for themselves. Because there's no real administrators like that. Like, it's not really like that. If you ask majority of Moors out here, half of them, they're going to court on their own and stuff like that. They have no group of Moors going with them to go do nothing. They're going by themselves. Because each man is a priest unto himself. You know what I mean? And if you study and you know what's up, then you don't need nobody. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's going to be issues and challenges and, you know what I mean, certain situations that arise, but the actual is that each man is for himself to do what, you know, based on his 5 senses, what he studies, to do what he's supposed to do.
Let me add to that. The Constitution for the United States of America, the preamble, says, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So when you go to that part where you were talking about liberty, it's for yourself. Only through you where anything's going to come out of. You cannot go wait on anybody else to get it for you. It's through yourself where your liberties will come from. Period.
The supreme duty of the ruling king is to give all protection to law-abiding persons and to chastise those who stray from the ordinances of the scriptures in ordinary times, when there is no emergency. In the scriptures there is mention of apad dharma, or occupational duty at times of extraordinary happenings. It is said that sometimes the great sage Visvamitra had to live on the flesh of dogs in some extraordinary dangerous position. In cases of emergency, one may be allowed to live on the flesh of animals of all description, but that does not mean that there should be regular slaughterhouses to feed the animal eaters, and that this system should be encouraged by the state. No one should try to live on flesh in ordinary times simply for the sake of the palate. If anyone does so, the king or the executive head should punish him for gross enjoyment. There are regular scriptural injunctions for different persons engaged in different occupational duties, and one who follows them is called svadharmasta, or faithful in one's prescribed duties. In Bhagavad Gita 1848, it is advised that one should not give up his occupational prescribed duties, even if they are not always flawless. Such svadharma might be violated in cases of emergency if one is forced by circumstances, but they cannot be violated in ordinary times. The state executive head is to see that such svadharma is not changed by the follower, whatever it may be, and he should give all protection to the follower of svadharma. The violator is subject to punishment in terms of the sastra, and the duty of king is to see that everyone strictly follows his occupational duty as prescribed in the scripture. Right? So if we look at, for example, we look at polygamy, right? And people claiming that, oh yeah, that's our culture, we need to adopt that or whatever like that, when in ancient times, polygamy was out of necessity. Polygamy wasn't just freelance, you could have multiple wives because there's more women than men or whatever. There was more women than men because men went to war. Some men didn't come back. So now, their children, their wife, whatever, they got to be taken care of. Most of the time in ancient times, it was a family member. It was an uncle or a brother or whatever that said, okay, you know what? Come on down with the family or whatever like that, and we'll take care of you because of your, occupational circumstance, right? But, people freelance with stuff. Just like they're saying with the food, you're not supposed to just have slaughterhouses out here just because people want to eat meat. You know what I mean? Like, and then now you're complaining because, there's no, everything that you get is grain fed, not grass fed. You know what I mean? Now you're complaining because, sheep and goats or whatever don't roam no fields anymore. They got a little pen that they live in. You know what I mean? Right? Chickens and stuff like that, eating their own feces and stuff like that. And then, chickens getting injected with stuff to make them plump because steroids didn't work. And now they got 500 million chickens that are, deformed and stuff like that. They got to make them look good enough to sell, so they got to pump them with stuff to sell or whatever. You know what I mean? Right? And all these things are things that, were created. All these things were things that came with the going with somebody else's lifestyle that had nothing to do with us. You know what I mean? Like we talk about, you got pigeons now eating hot dogs or whatever like that. Pigeons eating bread. You know what I mean? Like, that's not normal. You know what I mean? It's like with Nas on the Nigger album, and you had the, niggas are roaches or whatever. and we adapt to whatever. You're not gonna kill us. You know, you're not gonna get rid of us like that. But you know, you'll get us eating some fake chicken that we think is real. You know, you'll get us eating some worms and stuff like that. You know, even somebody had a video the other day with somebody who's awake, not even dead. Guy was awake, getting worms pulled out of his head from eating pork or whatever. Like man had the worm like
Yeah, I saw that.
pulling it out of his scalp. He was awake, like alive, like somebody just seen it. Hey, what's that on your head or whatever? And like, oh shit, that's a worm in your head? Oh, interesting. Right? You know? Because we're in those times. You know what I mean? We're in those times right now where, you know, when people say, you know, the time when things are going to be happening that, you know, it's not really going to register, really. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about with the shadow thing, where people call themselves black when they're really brown or whatever like that, and they don't get it. You know? Like, how don't you get it? Like, you're brown. Nah, forget that. I'm black or whatever. You know what I mean? No, but
I think the separation between this and this, and this, like,
right.
Well, that's it.
That's simple. I don't know.
What was the talk about that thing again? Because that was the shadow thing that you heard from Hannibal's class or whatever, with the mind and the clouding.
Well, it's a clouding of the mind, basically, what the shadow is. It's like we were talking about in regards to being called black, and just holding on to that, knowing that you are not, like, color-wise, you are not black, but it's like it's that strong feeling that if I sway from saying I'm black, I am, like we've been taught that if I sway from it, you know, I'm going against my race. But then going to the studies now, you would realize, wait a second, black is not a race. Cannot be a race. Sorry?
A race?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the shadow, the mind is just clouded from breaking through to knowing that this is not you. It's just clouded from that. Even if you call yourself multi-racial, you can't, because there's only one race. So how can you be multi? Right? Just think about that. There's only one race. How can you be multi? Cannot happen. You just have to think about that in the sense that the mind is just being clouded with the essence that if I go against what has been said, the 95% of the people out there said, something's going to happen to that.
It's also like, depending on what age you find someone at, let's say, 25. That's 25 years of thinking you're black.
Yeah.
You know how long it's going to take to get that out of your mind, of the average person? So something, like I said, with 25 years of being conditioned, that's a long time to condition somebody's mental to believe in something that's not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think a lot of some people have the ability to snap out of it.
Yeah.
And some people, I just
don't.
don't have the ability.
Let's don't. I mean, this came up when the conversation with Cujo and I have is came up when I was speaking to a sister. She's studying to become a lawyer, and you know, I just stay with her for a minute. I said to her, I said, I don't think you could be a lawyer. She's like, well, why not? I said, well, because I don't think you could lie. All right, just to see where she's at. But anyway, she said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, what color is that? Right? She said, well, that's black. Well, what color is, what's your color? Well, I'm black. I said, okay. What color is that? Right? And well, I'm black. Like it's slowly getting to her now because I said, well, you can't, because you're going to have to lie. You're going to have to learn how to lie. Right? So obviously you're going to have to learn how to tell someone, look at someone, clearly looks brown, and say that they're black.
Yeah, my 3-year-old gets it very, very simple.
Yeah.
Now, if you the first one, you see from the second
That's fine. But I know that's what. See, that's what. But exactly, right? Because it has to hit you. It has to hit you. Like if you think I'm making fun of you, or whatever. Well, come on now. You said that you were going to be a lawyer, and I said to you, you're going to have to learn how to lie. But you said, no, I'm not going to lie. All right. So on that level, you're looking at something that's one color, but you are. If you're going to look at yourself as a color, you're another color. Well, then someone's lying. You know what I'm saying? Someone's lying. And then after a while, she got it, and she's like, still pissed at me, but hey, what am I? You know, so okay, if you want to be a lawyer, well, that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to lie. On that level.
Even when you go to school too, you still gotta lie to yourself. Because like me and Shakir were talking, and Sister Mara was talking about the school system. Sister Mara, her one son, I can't remember his name. But anyways, he knows his roots like really well now, right? So him now knowing his roots, it's hard for him to pay attention to school because of the fact that everything that's being brought to him is a lie.
Exactly.
So it's just like, and the kid, apparently the kid's like intelligent. Child. I mean, not fair, the child. The child is really enhanced with his learning and stuff like that. But it's like everything the teacher's trying to put in his mind, it's already embedded in his mind that it's a lie. Yeah. So how is he supposed to counteract with the school and, you know what I mean? Like, especially being a war too. So yeah. Oh yeah. So
bring him down. Bring him down. The frequency down.
Yeah, but his mother's on point, so
yeah.
It's just an awkward situation for the child. He's just like,
oh yeah.
He's like, yo, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I was watching
they're just
in 2003, I was in the disability, and was known for people who want to become lawyers. Right? I met this guy, he was taking law courses, whatever. He left, and he came back. I'm like, what you doing? He goes, that's leave. I'm like, he's European. I'm like, why? I'm like, who's supposed to? Because before this European guy with, lawyer in his face.
Yeah.
Came back with those knots.
Yeah. Beard, big beard, right? Yeah.
Like,
Muslim.
Yeah, what happened to you, man? They tell man, you do this and everything before he's like this.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, man, it's leave, man. I'm like, yeah, you look so vibrant. You're vibrant, man. And he's like, yeah, it's like more scores now.
Yeah.
I'm like, so happy you so happy to leave. I'm like, why? Because a program, man, I can't be a lawyer.
Program was programmed.
So 2 years doing that, of course. And he's like, yo, man, this kid lied. I see so much fake people there.
Yeah.
Friends one day, phones next day, and the whole thing about lying, I just couldn't do it. My school couldn't take it. I said, wow, it sounds so different.
Yeah.
I sound like a brother now.
Yeah.
As opposed to a European.
Right.
Yeah. You're gonna have to lie. You're gonna have to have a law book in your hands and bring someone up knowing well that she has to grasp.
I really can't help you.
I really can't help you, but I got a mortgage to pay.
I need my check.
You know what I'm saying?
I need my retainer.
Like that like that engraved deepness of lying is like, shit, I gotta do it. I'm sorry, man. I got an oath of hell too.
Yep.
I took the oath, sorry. I love you, brother, man, but
selling on their own.
Yeah.
O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. There are many theoretical philosophers in the world who put forward their own theories for cause and effect, especially about the cause of suffering and its effect in different living beings. Generally, there are 6 great philosophers. First one, Canada, with a K. The author of Vaisika philosophy, Vaisesika. Gautama, the author of logic. Panjali, the author of mystic yoga. Kapila, the author of Sankhya, Sankhya philosophy. Jaimini, Jaimini, the author of Karma, Mimamsa, and Yasdeva, the author of Vedanta Darsana. Although the bull or the personality of religion and the cow, the personality of the earth, know perfectly well that the personality of Kali was the direct cause of their suffering, still as devotees of the Lord, they knew well also that without the sanction of the Lord, no one could inflict trouble upon them. According to the Padma Purana, our present trouble is due to the fructifying of seedling sins, but even those seedling sins also gradually fade away by execution of pure devotional service. Thus, even if the devotees see the mischief mongers, they do not accuse them for the sufferings inflicted. They take it for granted that the mischief monger is made to act by some indirect cause, and therefore they tolerate the sufferings, thinking them to be God-given in small doses, for otherwise the sufferings should have been greater. Maharaja Pariksit wanted to get a statement of accusation against the direct mischief monger, but they declined to give it on the above-mentioned grounds. Speculative philosophers, however, do not recognize the sanction of the Lord. They try to find out the cause of sufferings in their own way, and will be described in the following verses. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, such spectators are themselves bewildered, and thus they cannot know that the ultimate cause of all the causes is the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. There are also some thinkers who believe that no one can ascertain the cause of distress by augmentation, nor know it by imagination, nor express it by words. O sage among kings, judge for yourself by thinking over all this with your own intelligence. Echoing Juali, right? Before Juali. The Vaisnavites, the devotees of the Lord, do believe as above explained that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. He is the Supreme Director, for he confirms in Bhagavad Gita 15:15 that he is all-pervading Paramatma, stays in everyone's heart and keeps vigilance over all actions and witnesses all activities. The argument of the atheists that one cannot be punished for one's misdeeds unless proved before a qualified justice is refuted herein, for we accept the perpetual witness and constant companion of the living being. The living being may forget all that he might have done in his past or present life, but one must know that in the same tree of the material body, the individual soul and the supreme soul as Paramatma are sitting like two birds. One of them, the living bird, is enjoying the fruits of the tree, whereas the Supreme Being is there to witness the activities. Therefore, the Paramatma feature, the Supreme Soul, is actually the witness of all activities of the living being, and only by his discretion can the living being remember or forget what he might have done in the past. He is therefore both the all-pervading impersonal Brahma and the localized Paramatma in everyone's heart. He is the knower of all past, present, and future, and nothing can be concealed from him. The devotees know this truth, and therefore they discharge their duties sincerely without being overly anxious for rewards. Besides that, One cannot estimate the Lord's reactions either by speculation or by scholarship. Why does he put some into difficulty and not others? He is the supreme knower of the Vedic knowledge, and he is the factual Vedantist. At the same time, he is the compiler of the Vedanta. No one is independent of him, and everyone is engaged in his service in different ways. In the conditioned state, such services are rendered by the living being under force of the material nature, whereas in the liberated state, the living being is helped by the spiritual nature in the voluntary loving service of the Lord. There is no incongruity or inebriety in his actions. All are one, the path of absolute truth. Bismediva correctly estimated the inconceivable actions of the Lord. The conclusion is, therefore, that the sufferings of the representative of religion and the representative of earth, as present, were planned to prove that he was the ideal executive head because he knew well how to give protection to the cows, the earth, and the Brahmanas, religious principles, the two pillars of spiritual advancement. Everyone is under full control of the Lord. He is quite correct in his action when he desires something to be done by someone, irrespective of the consideration of the particular case. We'll stop there for today with that. There was we had one question, I think. The question is, when are all Moors going to come together and use the supreme law of the land and start activating our government in the public form, in the public? All Moors that are proclaimed to be national. And is sovereignty the people? And if sovereignty is the people, not an individual, so we need to come together and secure food and shelter. Treaty of peace and friendship is not the supreme law of the land. We are not to enforce it. Are we not Moors, the lawgivers? Article 24, the Moors, laws, etc. is my position. Just asking. And we'll just read Article 6 of the treaty. If any Moor shall bring citizens of the United States or their effects to His Majesty, the citizens shall immediately be set at liberty and the effects restored. And in like manner, if any Moor not a subject of the dominions shall make prize of any of the citizens of America or their effects and bring them into any of the ports of His Majesty, they shall be immediately released, as they will be considered as under His Majesty's protection. If any citizen of the United States will kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place, and equal justice shall be rendered, the consul assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the consul shall not be answerable for him in any manner whatsoever. If any differences shall arise, Article 24, if any differences shall arise by either party infringing on any of the articles of this treaty, peace and harmony shall remain notwithstanding in the fullest force until a friendly application shall be made for an arrangement. And until that application shall be rejected, no appeal shall be made to arms. And if a war shall break out between the parties, 9 months shall be granted to all the subject of both parties to dispose of their effects and retire with their property. And it is further declared that whatever indulgences in trade or otherwise shall be granted to any of the Christian powers, the citizens of the United States shall be equally entitled to them. And once again, the question, when are all the Moors going to come together and use the supreme law of the land and start activating our government in the public form, all the Moors that's proclaimed to be national? So with that, as far as that part of the question, all the Moors that are proclaimed to be national are more than likely active in their position. If Moors are of the perspective that when are we going to come together, that means they're mixing dirty Moors with active Moors, with religious Moors, with Moors that don't study, with Moors that kind of study but not really, with Moors that, when Juali said, all Moors are active, not passive. So if we're gonna use Moors as a guideline or as a point to say, okay, when are we going to whatever, we have to be specific with which Moors we're dealing with. As far as active Moors are concerned, you know, we've come together. As far as active Moors are concerned, we enforce the supreme law of the land. Don't think that because people who have been in possession of our birthright and exercising it for more than we have been exercising it, that when they do things against us, that, you know, we did something. We did what we're supposed to do. We put our stuff in. We defaulted them. But they're colored. And because they're colored, they can do whatever it is that they want when they feel like it, because that's what colored does. Colored does not go lawful. Colored is not going to acknowledge that, oh, the supreme law of the land is the real law of the land. Forget our statutes, ordinances, codes, and bylaws. They're not going to do that. They're never going to do that. What Moors have to do is, again, like we were saying yesterday, recognize what they have, become their own body politic, and not be in those people's jurisdiction of color, where they're going to use color to counter every single claim that you make. So, for example, like we said, we're starting up the Land and Transport Department because color people have licenses. We're not going to say we're Moors, so we're going to put our Bay on a license, and then now we can beat tickets because Bay's on a license. Right? We're not going to say, oh, well, we're going to, so we can, right? With regard to that, we create a department, just like they have a department, and then Moors use their own stuff instead of using their department for whatever, right? When Moors get themselves together on another level with, travel. A travel department that is going to give Moors a passport, just like Land and Transport Department gives Moors plates, cards, so that they can be out there with their vehicle, car, conveyance, whatever you want to call it, with a plate on it, with insurance on it, and not be hampered by these people. And it's going to be stages. Moors want stuff tomorrow, when we're behind 100 years. And again, instead of us trying to figure out how the Moors are going to activate their own government and whatever like that, how about we recognize that we had our own government, and people on our side that claim it was a joke and unreal buried it. And there's no way that anybody is going to respect Moors, right, and give Moors their due whatever, when Moors don't even respect themselves and their prophet to recognize that their own caused us to be in the situation that we're in, and certain people need to be grabbed by their collar and dragged out of buildings and lynched or put on trees out here, whatever, because nobody else has jurisdiction over them other than us. Who's going to do something? You're going to call police to come get them out of there or whatever? You're going to call National Guard to come get Grand Sheiks who've been dirty? Right? And then if you call the sheriff, you think sheriff's going to be doing something to them? Right? And once again, we're not telling people to go pull people down and lynch them or whatever. But we have to recognize that, people who, like all these Moors who have questions as to when are Moors going to, how come Moors don't have them, when are the Moors, all you people who have those questions, what you should be doing is you should be going to those people who say that they're Grand Major or whatever, that they've been in charge of the Moorish movement since Noble Drew Ali left, and ask those questions to those people. And when those people don't give you an answer, then deal with their case for not giving you an answer. Because they should have an answer as to where your stuff is, where's all your treasury money. These people, from 1913 to 1929, people been paying dues in lawful money. 50 cents dues. 50-cent coin or whatever like that. What is it? What's the, a $5? A $5 coin? $5 silver is worth about 25 or something like that right now? Right? So that's...
It's worth like 1750.
Okay, right? So a $5 is worth about 1750, right? Now that depends on the year of that. So if somebody has a $5 from, 56 or something like that, that might be worth 2 G's right now. So now, if we're gonna go back to 1913, and people were paying 50 cents dues, right? And then they were putting money in the emergency fund, and then if they were standing around on their job doing nothing, they got fined $1 and all that stuff, and all that's lawful money. And then we look at the Moorish movement today, and there's no treasury. There's no treasurer, and there's supposed to be one treasurer that handles all the finance for all the temples that are everywhere. That's not in existence right now. You need to go ask those people where your stuff is. Right? There's supposed to be one Supreme Grand Sheik. You got 5, 6 people claiming that they're Supreme Grand Sheik. All right, cool. How about, instead of, asking Kudro and, other active Moors who are just doing what we got to do because we realize that these people who aren't doing their stuff, if you want those things that you claim we're supposed to have or whatever, go ask those people who claim to be the authority in this Moorish movement since whatever. And you're not asking them for them to change nothing. You're asking them for them to fess up that they're the ones that messed up and have you in this situation where you're dealing with nigger issues that were supposed to be solved 100 years ago. You're supposed to be not dealing with nigger issues. You're dealing with nigger issues today still? And then saying that we're national and, we're proclaimed, so how come they don't just honor our stuff? If I was a European, and you're coming around me talking about recognize whatever, and I could just go online and I can see FBI papers and see this guy's name, and then they have a temple in 2015, and their name's in the FBI papers as an informant, I'm not giving you nothing. I'm like, what am I acknowledging you for? For what? You obviously don't even know how to clean up your own house. You're going to tell me cut my grass and your grass is like freaking 500 feet or whatever? How are you telling me cut my grass? And my grass is cut too. It's not even like my grass is like your grass. Right? And European knows this. And European knows that, just like the Hindu scriptures were saying, there's certain people on the planet that are, peaceful people, and they don't bother nobody. They just want to be one with nature and whatever stuff like that. Okay, well, that's us. So, what are we going to do? We're going to, Drew Ali said, study yourself. Well, we have 2 selves. So, if you, and he said, know thyself. And we have 2 selves. So sometimes, you might have to, pull out the ratchet on some people sometimes. Just because. Like, you guys playing around. You know what I mean? This is people's birthright that people are messing around with. We're talking about millions of dollars that was in the Moorish movement. Millions. That everybody who says that there are more now, that they could take the treasury funds and pie it out, and every individual who could say nationality card, they can get something, a check from the Moorish Science Temple for an amount. They can get that. But, you know, that's not around because people love to have dirty Moors around and be friends with dirty Moors and like dirty Moors pictures because they posted Noble Drew Ali. So, hey, I would like this guy because, you know, he posted a picture of the Prophet. Yeah, but his name is the FBI papers. Like, what the hell's wrong with you people? Right? Like, these people sold out. And we want to know how come we have problems. We have problems because we're not dealing with the sellouts. Nobody wants to call out the sellouts. Everybody wants to pretend like, you know, the Moorish movement is the most cleanest, whatever stuff, you know what I mean? It's white, you know what I mean? Polish is shiny, you know what I mean? There's no blemishes on this. This thing's all dented up or whatever like that. This is not even presentable to people. And you wonder why people don't want to get down with this or whatever. It's not presentable. You say in Lamborghini and you're giving them a Honda side dented in and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Nobody's not buying that. They know that there's a fraud going on. Right? And this is where it comes into active Moors. Stop looking for stuff. Stop trying to get stuff. Recognize what we have already that we haven't used. Because everything's there, sitting there. Everything's sitting there that we haven't used it. So how about we just use what we got? Stop making excuses for why we can't do stuff. And how about we just do it, get it done? Because it's not going to get done, like we said, unless Moors do it. Don't even think that you're going to get whatever. People want to say, you know, well, we should get reparations. Well, no, you shouldn't. Because, you know, reparations is for slaves. Like, you're not a slave, you're a Moor. Why you want reparations? Why you Moor going to go, Moor is going to get reparations. Right? And they get mad when you don't get it. Like, you don't get mad. You guys had $1 million in the treasury that got blown away, and you guys never did nothing about it. Now you're talking about you want money, or you want stuff. And then when you get it, they're going to give it to you in fiat. But then they're saying, oh yeah, Constitution, supreme law of the land or whatever. Okay, so they're supposed to be giving up gold or whatever. Well, they don't got it, so I'm going to take the fiat. So then what are you complaining about? You can't have both ways or whatever. You know what I mean? If you know that they already sold everything and they don't have no gold or silver to give you, then how about don't ask for fiat? How about take your rights back? How about take your energy back? You know what I mean? You don't need the fiat like that. There's people who I know that they don't got fiat, and they're living better than people who got fiat. Eating better than people who got fiat. Living better. Spirits better. They don't have no burden of, you know what I mean? Oh, freaking, and need fiat and all this stuff. Right? Because there's perspective of how we look at this. And once we clean up and we look at this from the right perspective, right, which is what we're supposed to do. If we look at this from the right perspective, then we'll be able to do what we're supposed to do. You know, talking about we need to come together and secure food, clothes, and shelter. Right? Well, you know, everybody who I know, they got cupboard at their house. You know, they got closet, and they got clothes in there. So okay, so we have clothes. We don't need no clothing. We got clothing. What is it that we need? We need people who have the skills to make those stuff. We don't need clothes. We need seamsters and seamstresses. Oh, but we got those. But Moors don't want to go support them because, you know, they're saying $80 a shirt or whatever. Well, I mean, what do you want? Like, what do you want? We want to have clothes. Okay, well, the Moor over there says that he's going to make your shirt for $50. Well, I don't know because, you know what I mean, you know, times are hard and, you know, we should be paying 20 or whatever. We're Moors. Well, you know, what do you want? We had $1 million in the stuff with our own manufacturing companies. Now we have nothing, and you know, you're not gonna go punch some of these guys who sold your stuff or whatever. You're gonna complain we don't have nothing. Now I'll put some of these guys in a headlock and demand them to go on camera, just like you guys taping everybody else getting shot up or whatever. How about you put some cameras on these people who sold your birthright for the past 800 years and put them on blast? Looking at Europeans like Europeans did something when they're pretending to be Moors. Oh yeah. Yeah, bring that picture of that guy so we could show everybody that everybody knows. And it's not even a secret. Right? And the only problem is us. I wish it was easier. I wish it wasn't this hard. Unfortunately, our own, you know what I mean? Our own did whatever they did. So we wanna put this one on the record so that everybody knows that everybody knows. If this guy knows, then you have to be convinced now that the sellout of the Moorish movement is way bigger than you ever imagined, right? What you thought was the sellout of the Moorish movement, forget that. It's way bigger than that, right? So we're gonna close out, put this guy on the record. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to really just like explain the difference between the Roman Republic and the Roman Kingdom.
The Roman, just to put it on the record, there's Jesse right there. Yeah, I'm gonna pass it around for y'all. There's Jesse Jackson right there, right? And notice that he's wearing the Nuwapian fez. He's not wearing some Masonic crap. He's wearing the Nuwapian fez. Just so you know that Jesse Jackson even knows what's up, right? If Jesse Jackson knows what's up, then everybody knows what's up, and they're choosing not to tell you. Choosing not to tell you. And they got their suit and they got their good whatever like that, and you're living in slums and you're living in crap. When all these people know what's up. Know that you're more and would never tell you. Messy Jesse. Right? Mr. White Blood on me at Martin Luther King's funeral. And Martin Luther King's murder. You know? To be the spokesperson now. Right? All these guys know what's up. All of them know. And remember, keep in mind, that's the Nuwapian fez. So he knows about Moors. That's not some Masonic whatever. That's Nuwapian fez that he's wearing. With the Ankh on it. With the Ankh on it. Right? So he also knows about the Kemetic stuff too, if you got the Ankh. Not just the Moors, he also knows about...
That wasn't a leftover class.
Yeah, that wasn't a leftover. You know what I mean? That's a personal.
There were two
right?
of them left over.
Yeah, right? This fit's too good to be a hand down. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, just try this on. I don't even know who those other guys are. Never seen their face before. Never seen their face.
But my question is the hegemony over the
Mediterranean?
Mediterranean. I can't even read. Mediterranean. Yeah, the Mediterranean world, right? So I want to know the de jure, like land of Roman, like the difference between Roman Republic and Roman Kingdom.
Okay. For as far as Roman, when Moors say Roman, we're talking about all the European nations, not some city in Europe.
Yes.
What you're talking about is some city in Europe. That's not even nothing to worry about or whatever, because that's just a specific jurisdiction of one group of Europeans. So if you just you can just do the research on Roman Republic, and then you'll find out that about all the popes who were African, all the whatever who were African, all the people who were the head of the government of the Roman Republic that were African.
Okay,
so which means that that really wasn't European.
Yeah.
Just like how they say they're gonna put out whatever Marco Polo TV show or some you know, Queen Elizabeth show and they have all these Europeans dressed up here, yeah, we're the royalty of Europe or whatever like that. They ain't no goddamn royalty. You know what I mean? That's just some fiction, just to keep people in the dark. So, but when we say Roman, we're talking about the Roman nations, which includes all the European factions. You know what I mean? That if stuff gets sick, they all band together and they're about some world conquest.
So wouldn't that be their own little kingdom jurisdiction that they have in their own mind, right? That's the separation between the Republic and the Roman kingdom, because the Roman Republic, I guess, ended in the 27 BC, and then the Roman kingdom.
Well, remember that as far as the Europeans, all they do is graft themselves onto stuff. They haven't found anything. But before something dies, they always find themselves there, picking up the spoil. Same thing with the Greeks and Egypt or whatever. They're up and then they found themselves there. And then there's all these dynasties of quote unquote Egypt that are Europeans. And then everybody's like, oh, but nobody's not looking at the fact that they don't have anything. So all they're doing is just go graft themselves onto something. Same thing like, you know, Ferdinand and Isabella. Graft themselves onto Al-Andalus and then say Spain. Graft themselves onto whatever, then say Spaniard. Graft themselves onto, you know, North America and now say here, United States, and now this is our jurisdiction or whatever. When they know that they're British, you know, Dutch, French, they came over here, Ellis Island and all that stuff, and they really have no jurisdiction over here, like how they push that they have jurisdiction. But once again, get the people who are the Aboriginal people to think that, you know, they're not tied here, then they have the jurisdiction to slide in and graft on.
A couple of weeks ago, I seen in the paper, Indians were putting up, changing street signs in Toronto, in certain areas of Toronto.
Yeah.
And they were saying that only Toronto or the government recognizes the Aboriginals, the original Aboriginals, but they were Indians.
Yeah. Putting up the, no, I
They were putting up
I didn't see that.
native names.
Yeah, on the street.
On the street.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was down in Bronxville area.
Okay.
They're putting up.
But it's legit? Like
no, they were doing it themselves, but nobody did nothing for it. But they were putting up their indigenous names.
Right.
In the Mi'kmaq language.
Yeah, yeah.
On the street sign.
Right.
And they just did a report saying that, oh, the government, they recognize or they're trying to get the government to recognize the original Aboriginal government of this.
No. My only thing with that would be if, you know, was that street always there? If that street wasn't there 500 years ago, then for them to put that sign on there is not really upholding some Aboriginal or whatever. They're really just, you know, giving the Europeans some more room to graft on for a little bit longer. Because they really should kick those signs down and eliminate the sign altogether. If you know, you're going back to Aboriginal whatever, because I'm pretty sure even 200 years ago, that street might not have been there that they're saying that they're calling an Aboriginal name. You know? Now if they're going to do that, if they're going to go and bring some old maps or whatever, and then say, okay, oh, that street used to be whatever, okay, we're going to get rid of that, and then, all right, cool.
Plus, they're Indian.
Right? Right. So once they have that classification, right? Yeah, once they have that classification, they're working for the other side.
Yeah. But then we can even go back a little further. When you have anything like streets, avenues, crescents, all
those are corporations.
You have a road, okay, that's a different thing. Street, all those other names, those are corporate anyway.
Right. So what are they gonna say? You know, are they gonna say, you know, Micmac Street?
Okay.
They say Micmac Street. Oh yeah, that's Aboriginal now. You already know that they're playing people. If they say street in Aboriginal, what street is an Aboriginal name or whatever, right? avenue in the Aboriginal what avenue is, you know, crescent, you know, whatever. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Right?
Not again. Not again.
They're just playing. We'll see how it goes, though. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but it comes back to that thing. You know, if that so-called street was there when only Aboriginal people were here, then they can say put this name on it because this is the real name of that street. You know what I mean?
They were just trying to get the government to recognize their older form of government.
Yeah. But and then you look at things like, you know, they're gonna say, well, we want the government to recognize whatever, but Mississauga is indigenous name. Does not mean that they recognize. Toronto is indigenous. Does not mean that they recognize. You know, right? You know, Scarborough. Does that mean they recognize? Ottawa. You mean they recognize? So, what do you mean you want them to recognize? Like, what do you want? You know what I mean? You know, or are they just going on the guys that, you know, everybody's dumbed down or whatever like that? So let's just play this game. If we play this game, then we're gonna get our little check handout or whatever like that. Because, you know,
they're more Albion than they
I was
are.
about to say,
Yeah.
like, you know, that's what we're getting into. Bro.
Yeah.
Even when I had the encounter with the Protestant enforcer, and I was telling the Protestant enforcer, like, yo, I'm religion. He's like, I'm not religion. This guy's blonde hair, and I'm looking at this guy, and I'm asking him, how the hell could you be African from where? You know what I'm saying? So, in regards to all these so-called natives and Indians, I thought about they want to get, who are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you an Aboriginal or are you a European? Because I'm looking at these so-called Indians and natives, and these guys look European to me.
Right? Yeah. Straight. $5.
Yeah, the ones that and there's a good article on that when they were buying status. When they started coming out with status cards, the Europeans were buying status. So
they know what's up because I have a bunch. I spent like my I went to middle school in Caledonia, in that area. I moved with my grandma, right? And I went to school with a lot of natives, you know, and they're on my Facebook. I have all my native friends, and I'm posting up all this information and stuff. No, they like my stuff. Yeah, Sino. There's this guy named Sino General. He's like one of those natives that go to all these reservations and stuff like that, and he teaches the people about sovereignty and like birth certificates and all that stuff. Right? And he actually built, like, you know, he actually looks good, and you know, and we actually talk with one of them.
See, like, I know Sino. See, the thing is, Sino is a free man on a land native.
Yeah.
I
don't share my information with him though, but like I just listen to what he has to say. You
no, but I'm just saying, like, imagine a native on that free man on a land. It doesn't make no sense.
Right. That's like double.
You're a free man on the land. Like,
double default.
They know what's up.
If
they did it, they would put their comments. Because we had some European guy that tried to comment one of my messages saying, "Oh, you shouldn't say that because it'll start fights." But like my one friend, from STM, right? His name's Phil Lopez, but you got a Moorish last name. So what's there to argue? Right? But like, you know, like he never said anything after I said, like, you guys been confusing my whole family for years. So once I said that, he didn't say anything because they know. It's true.
You've been doing it. You got it in front.
And that all incorporates the fact that why these so-called, like we like to call them, you got to sell offs because they know ain't nothing that they got was theirs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, yo,
to make treaties or
exactly. Like, so these guys are like, yo, listen, we're not gonna say nothing. We're gonna take whatever the hell we get, and we're gonna enjoy it. You know what I mean? We're not gonna fight for more. That's why, you know, they put them out on the reserves. That's like miles away from civilization. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's complaining because they're like, yo, we wouldn't have had this. You know what I mean? If we didn't take the buyout.
We'll take a
go there. They're trying to act like, well, I don't want to. They're trying to act like Moors. Like they're wearing like the 50-cent stuff, and they're wearing like all the M&M's and all that stuff. Yeah, like they're trying to act like us. So it's like they know what's up.
I tell you, the Mi'kmaq flag, white, the red cross, a red crescent moon, and a red spot on the sky. That's their flag.
For real.
Who's in the bullet, man?
What preserved you? They didn't preserve.
Or are you, right?
So it could be that that's the storehouse of energy.
If
Right?
the table preserved in the restaurant, what's that?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, it's occupied. It's being
They're
held.
holding
Yeah,
it.
they're
Yeah,
holding
holding
it
for
for
somebody.
So
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
it's in there.
Right.
So how come the land you observe you doing?
Yeah.
See the only done.
Right. Right.
Reserve it for someone.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right. Who they reserving for?
Put it like
For
that.
real. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like, let's get up
The
here.
old man don't know. That's how it is.
Yeah.
But they made a deal with the corporation of Canada.
Yeah. To get
They
their
get paid
hand out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's brothers that live on the reserve though. Because
Right.
when I used to drive from Caledonia to go to Brantford. Yeah, you'd see I'd see like the 1-2 brothers that
Yeah.
have their own little farm set up
For real.
and stuff like that, but they probably ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
They ain't
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
nothing. They're on Jesse Jackson.
Yeah. Aboriginal up and not saying nothing.
benefits.
Straight. You know, selling out as its privileges.
That makes sense, but like, you know, in that context,
Yeah.
and you live on a reserve, it's good.
Yeah.
The table is no longer reserved once you sit there.
One other thing I wanted to say is, since I got my nationality card and not paying taxes now and stuff like this, the Regent Park area is a lot of Somalians. So
Yeah.
they're real impressed with that. They're like, how can I get the card? I want to come to the temple and all
Yes,
that.
yeah.
And I said, but
That's the area you're at? That you're
Yeah.
down there?
Yeah.
That, that new community center that they got down there? Just go get some space. Just go get some space in there. We'll do something up there. Let's get some space there, and we'll just, cause you know that's down here still. You know what I mean? So yeah, yo, you know, yeah, yo. I think there's even a.
They're telling me come to the mosque and all
Yeah.
this stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll pass.
Slow down, please.
See you holding your scimitar there. You know? It's all
I have to
right.
explain to them, you know, I'm Muslim and I'm Muslim.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into all that.
Right.
Just hold your top.
Yeah. Also too, you could use their and that's how we got a Somali one time. Remember the one from the,
Oh yeah.
you know, with the flag, their blue flag with the 5-point star in the middle. You know what I mean? Just show them, you know, change the colors, you know.
They're wear cool
Yeah.
because, you know,
Yeah.
and whenever they see me wear it, they're like, oh, they're impressed. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're either saying yeah. But it got me thinking because you know I was getting a big head of small head for a second.
Yeah.
You know, I was impressed to use it running around, but I'm like, wait a second, this is like France.
Yeah.
This is nothing to be impressed with. It's
It's
France.
petty.
It's like someone jacked you $500 and gave you here as a quarter.
Yeah. And you're like, oh.
No, that's real talk.
I use it still.
Oh yeah.
Don't stop using it, but
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
you know there's a bigger picture.
Right.
Yeah, much larger picture.
And I mean, and even that too, you know, Drew Ali even said that, you know, even those Muslims were gonna have to clean them up because they think they got something in Muhammad and Allah and all that stuff when they've been being played by all those imams.
yeah, I told him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's kind of, you know,
Yeah.
I told him, and once I showed him like the World Bank side of things too, and how like what China's doing and stuff like that. And then I told him how, you know, like everything goes back to Congress, right?
Yeah.
And Congress is basically made by Moors.
Yeah.
He's like, and I said, yo, you're over here, right? You need to be a part of the Moorish bloodline because, you know, you have like, you're saying you're Muslim, you're saying that you descended from Muhammad.
Yeah.
So if you're coming over here and saying that you descended from Muhammad, you're under the wrong jurisdiction.
Right.
So you're contradicting yourself.
Right.
So you're just like, yo, where can I get this card? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. The other thing about them is when they come over, they make them become citizens.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
they
Nationalized.
They're
Yeah.
understanding. They're
Denationalized.
understanding it because of that bill.
Your mother name.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
were Canadian name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nigerians, everything.
Yeah.
That's what the landlord was talking about.
Yeah.
Nature of it, and Cal's breaking that down too. When they naturalize and they say, you know what? Like Chinaman, like, you know, you need a name like John or Bob.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Bob
like,
Chen.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So you could, they say better incorporate yourself with so-called society, right? But they don't know they're selling themselves up.
Right.
They're
They're thinking, and just like you're saying with crumbs, they think they're getting something because you know. Oh, we left there, we came here, now we're not getting nothing.
Give them a nice brand new car.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So, you know, Negroes buy hair like crazy. Nails and stuff like that. Hot seller. Liquor. You know.
Hey, Bobby said that liquor's spiritual.
You know, I use it for
Yeah.
moderation.
You know what I mean? Because, it's spiritual. Them spirits have you running across the naked talking
Release the spirits.
Yeah, is Bobby still alive?
Yeah, he's still battling. You know what I mean? He's still battling. I haven't heard anything in a little while. I heard Delbert Blair's sick right now.
Yeah.
So it's about to go down. You know what I mean? The transition. You know, you have Dr. Ben. You know, Van Sertima, Henry Clark. You know, that line is running thin right now. So it's the next level up. Better get ready. New wave, yo. Better get ready. You know. Yeah. You know. You are. You know. Child psychologist. You know. So yeah, we'll close out Islam to all the Moors online. Peace, love, and hotep. Don't forget we're live again on Tuesday. Same back channel. We'll be here. And if you any Moors out there, you could put the word out. If you're interested in being an honorary member of Canaanland Moors Temple, if you're living in a jurisdiction where there's no temple, feel free to send an email, canaanlandguide@gmail.com for the honorary membership form, and we'll get that sent out to you. Or Amari Elbay, AMAURY Elbay @hotmail.ca, and we'll get that form sent. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Peace.
Freedom.
And
justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
And
my salvation. By night.
And
by day.
Through
His holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Ashe. Yeah, get some air up in here for real. Yeah, you're chilling. You got mail, huh?
Yeah.